Hello and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. And how about yourself?
I'm doing good. New week, new match coming up.
Hmm.
As Cornell always says, it's Monday, clean slate,
Yep.
start the week. But yeah, exciting evening on Saturday night in Chester. Obviously, Union come away 1-0, and we're gonna talk about that match against St. Louis City, share our thoughts, and yeah, just kind of also in today's show, look ahead a little bit for these next five matches that for you are going to be very, very challenging, and we'll share some thoughts about that as well.
Yes.
So, but anyway, before we get started, what are we wearing today?
Well, I veered off the Union path a little bit. I am actually just wearing because I wore this today coaching at swim practice, my um, Eagles Super Bowl champions shirt that on the back it has like the signatures of all of them, printed on it. And yeah, so still reveling in that a little bit.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. I am wearing a Las Vegas Lights um t-shirt that they unveiled with along with their new kit this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of just if you're looking, it's like Las Vegas Lights Football Club 2018, but
Mm-hmm.
the signage and like the logo is the original Golden Nugget.
Yeah.
That's what I got. So
We like the Golden Nugget.
being a Vegas history buff, I wanted to get this and wear this. There's another one that I want from there too as well. So anyway, but uh let's before we get started, where can people find us at?
So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on socials at TOTWAG on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the One Team We Agree On. Also, we are on YouTube at the One Team We Agree On. We have our website, the one teamweagreeon.com. Find us individually. On Twitter, I'm at silly double underscore Jilly. I'm on Instagram at that as well. And at Jillian Almany on Blue Sky. And Kyle, you are at Coach Almany on like basically everything.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody again. Thank you. This week again with all our articles and content, lots and lots of interactions, good comments on some of our articles. We really appreciate you guys,
Yeah.
like, interacting with us. Some people bringing up good points in the articles and just sharing their thoughts, and that's what we really, really like to see.
Yeah, we do appreciate that. And don't forget to, if you want to receive our articles to your email, you can subscribe. There's a place on our website there on the front page where you can put in your email and subscribe.
Yeah, and also please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And our podcast. Any bit helps. But
Mhm.
let's get into the show, shall we? So
Yes.
we got a couple things we want to review real quick. You had a
Yeah.
little mini quick merch review.
Yeah. So first of all, at the game on Saturday, they were doing a giveaway to however many first fans show up, but they had a scarf giveaway when you went in, and it's very similar to the season ticket member scarf, apparently. So anyway, it has the light blue and the yellow colors on it. We have Union on the one side. This was sponsored by College Ave. So I'm not even sure what that is. But anyway, it has PHL Union across the one side and the snake and some lightning bolt action there. And then the back of it has just like lightning bolts. It's actually a pretty decent scarf for it being a giveaway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's not bad at all. Nice light summer scarf kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got that. And just a little bit of merch in the team store. I had bought a sweatshirt. Well, I actually bought the Andre kit last, the previous game, the Nashville game. But another thing that we got too was this navy blue long sleeve shirt. Here's the back of it. It's got the light blue
Yeah.
lightning bolt down the back. The sleeves, I like the sleeves. They have like the blue and yellow lightning bolts down each sleeve. And the front has just the snake logo in like the upper left.
And it's embroidered.
And it's embroidered. So
It's
that's
nice.
really nice. That's a
Yeah.
really nice long sleeve. And then
Yeah.
shout out to our friend Conrad LeBlanc,
Yeah.
right?
Share
So
share this.
so Conrad gave us this. So last season they, you know how they always do the Juneteenth shirts. So I know got one a couple years ago, the jersey of Stuart Finley. Um, but so this is has Unity wins. Okay. Well, this was like the Unity, yeah, the Juneteenth Unity thing. And so they auctioned these off. Each were like signed by a player that wore them. And so this was last season's. So Conrad gave it to us, and this is one signed by Oliver Zemla.
Yeah, so we
So that
yeah.
he had gotten that at auction and he gifted that to us. So thank you,
Yeah.
Conrad. That was
Yes,
really
thank you.
thoughtful.
That was awesome. And
So yeah,
once again, yeah, just some nice good stuff we can share and
yeah, yeah. I
you
really
know,
like the design of that shirt.
that's be
Like,
good in your classroom.
yeah,
Yeah, so anyway, let's talk about Philadelphia Union versus St. Louis City.
yeah.
Yeah, Carnell and Indiana Vasilov
It's their old
facing
team.
up, facing their old teams. So we got down there a little early, and kind of took in the free game, pregame festivities. And you were there before I went up to the press box.
Hmm.
But my question to you was it really Irish Heritage Night? Because I did not see a lot of Irish themed. I know they had the scarf in the team store, and if anybody has it, please share it. But
The St. Patrick's Day scarf. They had that. I thought there was supposed to be like food and stuff, like different like things for St. Patrick's Day for Irish heritage, and it really seemed to be lacking. And so yeah, like pre-game stuff they had like a band playing were they playing like over at Union Yards a little
yeah,
bit. But then like band was playing like 90s songs and stuff. I don't know, was that the same band or was there a different band? Because I
no, it
think
was
they
the same
same
band.
band.
I did hear them a couple times playing like Irish folk
Mhm.
songs, but it was very sporadic.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because it was so windy that everybody was
Yeah.
inside for the most part.
Yeah, it was really windy during the tailgate. Like the sun would be out and it'd be fine, but like it's the wind. So it keeps being windy. As someone said, they're like, well, we've traded in the rain for just it being windy at this point.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, it wreaks a little havoc for, with the game with it being windy, but what it wasn't really super super cold till like it started getting really cold during the second half. Like it was like 50 degrees, but the
Mhm.
feels like temperature was like 37. But yeah, so it was windy though throughout the day. But yeah, it was really lacking in the Irish heritage stuff and, I have like something like 5% Irish or I don't know. But hey, I want to celebrate that. I would love for them to do a German one, by the way.
That would be fun.
And there's some German players, and
If they got that, like just have like, I mean, you could
they should
do a
do that.
lot
They should
with
do Oktoberfest, which, by
like
the way,
that's all
starts
about
in September.
that by the way was something I was thinking about. Like, you got Union Yards right there.
Cool.
You could do, something
They
even
could
with some
partner with Brauhaus Schmitz or whatever. Like they always
yeah.
do that, so
I don't know.
just a thought. So.
I know Sons of Ben marched in with like a
Mhm.
bagpiper.
Yeah, so they did have bagpiper, which is cool. Actually, I took some pictures of that. I posted that on social, I think. So I know I should have shared that with you so we could show that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did have bagpiper, and then I think like at halftime they did some things. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but they did some like kind of stuff with like leprechaun hats or something. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to that at all. But yeah, it didn't really scream like Irish Heritage Night. Like I know when like say the Phillies or somebody
Yeah.
does something like they do a whole lot more with that. So it's like, because they do such a good job with, the Hispanic Heritage Night. Like that
Hmm.
one, they have all the food vendors and they, the special kit usually around there and just like they really do that one up. So I just know the Philly area does have a very um large, population of people that have Irish background. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, it to me now I was upstairs, so I didn't get to take in as much, and even during halftime I was wasn't really paying attention to the halftime festivities, so I didn't get to see any of that. I did see like you said, there was somebody walking around with a leprechaun hat. So,
yeah.
uh,
Well, I mean, if Jack McGlynn were still on the team,
you know,
I think There you go. They could have done something with that. I feel his dad, of course, is Irish, and I don't know. I feel like Paul would have been disappointed with that
Hmm.
display of Irish heritage. No, it's all good though. But yeah, so they could have done more. But anyway, I digress.
Now let's talk about the match here.
Yeah. So Union sit atop the standings.
They
Another
do, and
win.
if you're listening to this, yeah, this Monday evening here when we're recording, Union are in first place in the Eastern Conference,
Stop the
and
count.
yeah. Uh, but no, this was a game going in. St. Louis City had not allowed a goal in
Yeah.
the first four matches to start the season, as wrote about.
Hmm.
Um, and again, Olaf Melberg had his team very confident.
Hmm.
Actually, I got in there. They were out there on the pitch walking around, just getting ready for warm-ups. And, that this was a game where I think Todd even said it was a must win. We were talking about it in the press box. We were like, yeah, with what's coming up, they gotta win this game, especially, having 10 points in the first five
Hmm.
matches would be huge. And, I at the end of the day was thinking, man, even to get a point and get out of here.
Yeah,
But no, Union stepped up.
they did.
Being depleted, and it goes back to the depth of this team right now at this point in the season. Just very, very impressive. With everybody we saw play on Saturday night. I was pleasantly surprised, as we even said, and if you listen, um, to the post game interview I was on with Todd and Lewis and Mike Barrera, for AAT's Across the Pitch post game show, that was one of the big things was the depth.
It was next man up mentality there. And you see all these players are not going to be there, but the guys stepped up and it it was definitely a pleasant surprise. But you think back to like last season when they were at Portland and they were depleted and
Hmm.
the guys stepped up. And once again, we saw that and we didn't need you, you know, asleep on the couch as
All
many
right.
know. No, but it was definitely a pleasant surprise and definitely, they had to shake up the lineup,
Hmm.
but it showed the versatility, especially of some players, which we'll get into. But my goodness, like way to step up for them. And let's talk about those lineup changes.
Yeah, I mean, you had Damiani up top with Ua.
Yeah.
You had the back line. You had Bizo, you had Jacob, and then you had Jan Glenovic, and then you had Kai, and then you had Harriel,
Hmm.
Jovan, Indiana Vasilev making his first Union start, and then you
Hmm.
had Quinn Sullivan. So you're
Yeah.
looking at that with everybody. Oh, and Andrew Rick was in net for
Yeah.
his first start for the first team this year.
Yep.
Um, the best part was when the lineups were announced,
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Are we going to three back
Yeah, because you
with wings?" And everybody's like, "What?"
yeah, because you see that and it's like, wait, Bizo and Harriel are both in, is but also Jan's in and Glesson, it's like, is that gonna be like three center backs or what's going on there? Because we all know Nate, has played center back. But then when they took the field,
Well, and that's a funny
yeah.
story. So we're all like, I'm like writing about it and all this, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, the person to my left, uh, turns to me and goes, "You, you see the guess the cat's out of the bag," and I'm like, "Is he playing midfield?" He goes, and everybody starts laughing. It was like, "Oh my gosh, Nate's playing up top," and so I want to play the clips from Bradley Carnell
Yeah.
real quick, and also Quinn Sullivan post game. We asked him about it, and just to get his comments before we talk about him a little bit more.
Yeah, who would have thought Nate Harry will play mid, like being a 10,
Yeah,
like what? Um, but man, shout out to Harriel. Whew.
yeah. Let's listen to Bradley's
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising seeing Nate in that position. I said last year he was like the Swiss Army knife of them because he played left back, center back, right back. And now we've seen him play in midfield. And for what it's worth, he did an amazing job actually, playing out of position. So,
First and foremost, Nate serves a dual purpose. He's excellent in the air for set pieces. And then also just his ability and repeater sprintability, I would say. And knowing, how St. Louis want to build up and how they want to play the game. I thought it was a perfect scenario for him. And he emptied the tank. He committed to a lot. I think he had insane numbers in terms of his running data. And credit to him. He's been working hard to get back into full fitness. So happy for him and his performance.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was hilarious. Me and Nate were joking about it. Everyone was joking about it. Obviously, never seen Nate in a 10 position. Obviously, it was a little altered based off, based on the system. But yeah, listen, I think we took care of business today, and it was good.
Yeah, so that
mhm.
well, you just heard Bradley talk about like Nate emptying the tank.
Yeah,
He did. I mean, he
he really
was
did.
all over the field on Saturday night. It was really impressive to watch. Um, and Quinn mentioned there, about like, they were joking about it.
Yeah.
But he also said there were some times where, he got his cues because again, new system, the
hmm
cues are a little different this year. So he'd make a run when it was supposed to be the forward.
hmm
But overall in the night, I thought he played phenomenal.
I
Like he
thought so
said, he
too.
was all over the field.
He really did. And I think like Nate really needed that performance because he's coming back from injury. He looked kind of rusty when he played with Union 2 in that opening game.
He looked fine against Nashville in limited
Yeah,
time.
he did, but I thought he looked like definitely way more back in form, even being out of position, really showed a lot of the skill that he has. So, just really nice to know that hey, there's that versatility, in a pinch he could slide in there and play that position. What's next? Are we gonna see Nate as a striker?
No.
No.
Um,
No, but
but having said that, again, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning and kind of what our theme is
yeah.
depth right now. I mean,
hmm
even in the second half when Jan comes out, he slides back into that left back role and he shut
hmm
it down. And again, it's a credit to the depth that I mean, Tanner kind of has put together a
Yeah.
very deep team. And as I said on across the pitch, they're still learning this system, the cues,
Yep.
all that, and the passing signals, and who's making runs here and there. And for them, this early 5 games in, to then to bring the second team and these guys just kind of picking up, it was refreshing to see.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And a lot of people going into this were like, oh, maybe we get lucky and get a draw or whatever, and people being down like, oh, we got to go with all these replacements. But I'll tell you what, like, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? That you're going to see this performance from Nate and everybody else really stepped it up too. In fact, one of my students mentioned that they didn't even watch the game because they thought it was going to be bad. I was like,
Mm.
well, maybe you need to not watch the games then, right? No, because they brought it. So no, but all joking aside, you know, I thought that was such a positive thing, because you think, oh, okay, well,
Mhm.
they're going on this hot start and everything. Then you have the Nashville game, which was a letdown and certainly could have gone the other way, but way to rebound for them.
No, and that was a big key, and we said that our last episode. I want to see
hmm
how this team rebounds. That was kind of the calling. Um, that was kind of the big thing there was, are they going to rebound when they get it? So they did, and that was really impressive. Very, very impressive to see. So, shout out to Harriel. But continuing with that depth, we saw Jan play,
Yes.
and Jan scored a goal.
Yeah, eight
Um,
minutes in.
8 minutes in, and that again, Kai picks up his fifth assist on the season,
hmm
leading the MLS in assists. Nice ball, far post.
hmm
Jan sitting right there. Doesn't even dive or anything. Just kind of bends over and heads it.
Perfect placement. Headed it
Perfect
right in.
placement right in. Place erupts.
Yes.
And you're sitting there going, huh, all right. Um, Overall in the night, I want to talk about the defense a little bit. So,
Yes.
Jan, what were your well, first, what was the reaction when that ball went in the net in the River End?
Well, I had a great view of that.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, that was exciting. Yes, just everyone erupted. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh," because yeah, Jan getting his first MLS start, and then there he gets a goal like that soon. And, like, you love to see that because he's on loan, and we want to see what he's got.
We do. And I thought in the night for still working his way back, he was really, really impressive. Another center back that
Yes.
was impressive was Jacob
Let's
Glesnes.
talk about Jacob Glesnes.
Let's talk
Oh my
about
goodness.
Jacob for a little bit. He
Yeah.
was the captain with Ale not available. When announcements came out, everybody was like, "Where's Ale? Where's
Oh,
Ale?"
all the
Yeah.
speculation.
I mean, at the end of the day, Carnell addressed it post match. He said it was a prior family commitment that was arranged. So
Yeah.
that's where
Hmm.
we stand with that. End of story.
Yep.
I I know some people are still looking into it, but I would just say end of story.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, I
Cardinal.
heard somewhere, I don't know if it's true. I heard like his brother's wedding or something, but like, yeah, from what I've heard,
Yeah, it's a non-issue,
yeah,
but we'll
exactly.
see. But yeah, being the captain on Saturday night. Um, and Todd joked, I know, on his podcast, and if you watch his goals breakdown video, I mean, it was the Jacob Glesnes show, really, with the breakdowns.
Yeah.
Some impressive tackles where, again, I kind of said this on the post match where you maybe want to see him a little bit tighter, but when there was a lapse in either communication, this is the first time now they had worked together in preseason, but
Hmm.
first time in MLS play that they start side by side, you can still see again,
Yeah.
they're still figuring some things out. But when there was that breakdown, he was recovering very impressively. Like he
Yeah.
was making those tackles, making those stops. I also thought that Jan complimented him real well. You can see
He
what Jan
did.
has. Um, and really kind of just there'd be times where maybe Jacob could speed, but Jan comes in, covers up, or buys it even one
Mhm.
once or twice did. There was good. There was just they played off of each other real well.
They really did. And I mean, this was probably the best Jacob Glesnes performance we've seen in quite a while.
I
I mean,
agree with that.
yeah, like he really, really had a strong night. He needed that, and the team needed that. Um, just that came up huge. Anytime he would pass back towards the goal, of course everyone holds their breath because it's like, oh, and plus with it windy. There was one time where like he hit it over the end line, and when he was, I think, trying to pass it back, and people around me were like, I'm actually okay with that because you know what? I get nervous when it goes towards the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, like he really looks strong. And again, he needs that because it's been a little rough. Last season was rough. And so,
Even last week
and
was rough.
and I know that Bradley had said too, like he was out there with like, he wanted to write, what happened last week.
And you credit that. And I guess my point is now going back to the depth, who do you go with? Because Makanya he had a shaky game.
Mm.
He's had two good ones, two so-so ones. Um, in his first four games, and then you have Jan. It's only one game, small sample size.
Hmm.
But here's another good problem that Carnell has, and he
Yes.
addressed that these are good problems because Carnell wants to see these guys compete. So
Yeah, I think that Mikanya does have a lot to learn still, and that was just a dumb mistake what he did to get that red card. I feel like Jan's a little bit more collected on that. But I think that it is a good problem to have because you can, plug in different guys there. Um,
plus you can keep like Jan a little healthier,
yeah,
and
yeah.
bring Makanya on or
I think the big thing too is it's like you have Jan there on loan, and so
oh,
you need to
absolutely.
play him and see what you've got and see if you want to, buy him And I want to say this about Jan too. I love his attitude.
Oh yeah.
I really do. If you guys all watch the post game interview that he had, and basically, and he's like, that wasn't my goal, that was the team's goal, and he was just very like, um, you know, team oriented there. And no, I just really like his attitude. Like I have very good vibes. I like
He's
he
very
runs.
humble. Even when he did the
Yes.
post game press conference, he was like, "Sorry, sorry, I don't still don't speak good English," but
Yeah.
he did fine.
Yeah.
He did fine responding to questions.
Yeah, we have that by the way in your article, Kyle.
Yeah.
We have the post game comments.
So yeah, definitely check him out if you want to hear what he had to say post match. One of the things that stuck out to me is, sometimes soccer is the way it is, and
Mhm.
it can be. I'm paraphrasing here, but when somebody asked him about like the injuries, and it can
Yeah.
can be brutal, and it also can reward you. Again, I'm paraphrasing there, but
Yeah.
it was good to see on the night this defense kind of get that spark because Andrew Rick had one good save where he
Yeah,
kind
he had to
of
make one
gets
save.
turned out of position a little bit, shot on net, and he puts his hand up,
Hmm.
makes another good save, kind of like what he did last year. I would say last
Like,
year's save
yeah,
of
like
New
at
York's,
NYC. Yeah.
but that was a better save.
Oh yeah,
But
like that he
but that was
flicked it out
still a
there.
good save.
It really was like the one save he had to make. I mean, he got it done and he has such a good awareness there. Like he's really learning as he goes here, Definitely he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's gotten a little bigger. And again, if you haven't checked out my interview with Andrew Rick, I put out that article and audio and everything of that. But like, yeah, he's playing confident. Seeing him um with Union 2, he, had two saves on the
Yeah.
PKs and, so he's playing really well. Obviously he's their number two in line. Oliver Zemla is kind of like
An afterthought right
I
now.
felt, which, you feel for him, but it is what it is. It's just like what, um, but yeah, I mean, Rick has really just grown, not just in height, but she definitely has. But yeah, he's just getting more and more confident. So I felt good about having him in there. Obviously, you have Andre with so much more experience and it's great that Rick gets to learn from him too.
It is, and he talked to you about that,
Right.
about having to learn. Uh, the thing that sticks out to me a little bit more this year is his presence,
Yeah.
how he's handling himself even without the ball.
Yes.
Looking at that, again, we've seen this with you too. The quick rebounds. It's not
Yeah.
like he's getting the ball out early in the game quick. They
Yeah.
want to keep moving. They're not just like milking PK.
Yeah.
It's like boom, runs over, grabs the ball, gets the ball out. Quick
He did
once
get a
again.
card for for time wasting.
Although he did
We've
do
seen him do that. We saw him get a red card last season with Union 2 for he got a double yellow for
Yeah,
the time
so I
wasting.
mean, he's still learning, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can already see the growth, and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you now have a legitimate second keeper that when Andre does go away,
Yeah.
that you feel a little bit more confident
Yeah.
in Andrew Rick behind the net. I mean, he's still young, he's still learning, but I mean,
Yeah.
kind of reminds me a little bit of Matt Freese. Maybe not Matt Freese's level yet.
Yeah. And
But
shout out to Matt Freese because he made team of the match day.
yeah,
So good for
and
him.
Jan made bench. So shout out to
Yes.
Jan. So
Yeah. But yeah, Andrew Rick, held his own. People around me were coming like when Rick would like kick the ball out, he'd like fall over half the time because he was putting so much force in it to get it going, I think against the wind there.
yeah,
But people are like, "Oh my God." It was kind of funny. But yeah, no. He was chosen by Sons of Ben to be player of the game, which
yeah.
I
Let's
mean,
talk about that because one save, like what, like I think it was like five total shots.
there weren't like that many shots, and there was only one on target, which he saved. So he made the one save, and I know when he was coming off the field and like walking towards the Sons of Ben there, and they're all like, waving him stuff like the capos and stuff. I saw him hold up the finger, and I read his lips. It's like I only had one save,
Right.
Yeah. So
When they announced that, we're like, what?
I thought they would pick Jan because he scored that
Yeah,
goal.
Jan was worthy. I thought Jacob was worthy.
Yeah.
Like I even said in the post game, I give it to Harrell. Harrell
Yeah.
played all over the field, like Carnell said, emptied his tank. Um, Talking more about though, and transitioning. Let's talk about the attack again.
Yeah.
You could play Negadelphia in here and say it's same old Union, creating chances,
They had a
and
lot of chances.
not. Yeah, I mean they had what, 15 shots on goal. I think they had 18. Now, second half, they
It was
kind
like
of,
18 total shots, but
I
like,
think they had
yeah,
like, I'm in
I'm
second
gonna
half.
say, yeah, it was like I think at least like 9 on target or something
Yeah,
like
oh, they
that.
were over 50%, which is
Yeah,
what you want to see. But the
yeah,
quality of chances, again,
yeah.
this goes back to what we're seeing early on in the season, is the quality. Now, and I think Todd brought this up in his podcast where, you could say, well, they created a lot, but they only scored one goal. They only scored one goal last week. They only scored two in New
Hmm.
England after, scoring eight in their first match. Okay. But
Well,
it's the quality chances. And I think that
yeah,
goes back to um, their goalkeeper.
yeah. He had
He
the
had a
game of his
phenomenal
life
game.
there. Yeah.
So anyway, Carnell did share that, and I want to talk. Also, Quinn shared his thoughts as well when I asked him about Lunt and just the attack overall. So we'll play that clip here.
There was some good combinations happening. I thought we could create a little bit in transition as we did, and some service from Kai, or whether it was over the right hand side from Mbaizo. Also, I think we had some really nice moments. And again, listen, we've been creating a lot over the last couple of weeks, and we've shown this with one stack of players, and now we showed it tonight with another set of players. So, I'm just happy that we are continuing to create and play fluid, attacking football, and I'm enjoying every process with the guys, and it was fun to watch. I thought Ben Lund had a great game, by the way. I thought he kept them in the game, and I think we deserved the second goal early on in that first half. And but credit to Ben, he played excellent.
The goalkeeper had an amazing performance, so credit to him. He was big for them and really did keep them in the game. Obviously, we'd like to finish some of the chances that we created in the first half and finish with a bigger lead. But listen, those actions were really good. Me and Kyle down the side, getting crossing actions, me cutting inside with the balls in the box. So, but the hold-up play was really good from Bruno and Mikel. I think the one action down the side where it was kind of all-encompassing of what we want to do, right? We win the ball in a 2v1 with me and Kai. I dribble up the field. I find Bruno. Bruno lays it back to me. Mikel's running in behind, and it ends in Bruno's shot, and the keeper makes a save. I think that play is really all-encompassing of what we want to do in every game. So I'm happy we showed that today.
Yeah, no, and that play about that was that ball went right in and lunged out and made that huge save.
Yeah.
The one that got me was the one I think it was Mikel came up on the left side like he does, and kind of crossed it, and like Bruno does what he does is he runs right on that ball and just dead red right there, right on the doorstep, and lunges like pulls it right out for a corner.
Yeah.
There was about you could legitimately say that you could have had 3 or 4 goals that first half.
Absolutely. They were just dominating, and we're not used to seeing all that possession with Union. Now, even before the red card happened, they had like 60% possession. They were showing the wrong thing in the stadium, by the way. It was funny because I turned to one of our friends there, I said to Eric, and I was like, what do you think the possession is right now? And he's like, well, showing up there like 40. I'm like, nope. They had it like switched up on the screen in the
Well,
stadium.
MLS had a totally crazy one. Where it was like Union had like 70%, but
by the
then
end
Foot
it was.
Mob,
Yeah.
but Foot Mob had what was up on the screen. So
It was showing like St. Louis had higher possession.
yes, and so was Foot Mob. So it was really weird. Like
watching it, you wouldn't be surprised Union had more possession, but
right.
it was interesting. But yeah, like the chances were there. They were really, and it wasn't like, because you think, oh, great, they're getting so much possession, and as we know, to quote the great Jim Curtin, possession without penetration is useless.
They were penetrating. They just couldn't get the ball back in that.
Well, was having great saves. I mean, to his credit.
I mean, he played phenomenal. I think,
they have a good backup for Berkey. Like,
yeah, they do.
They should feel, confident with that. They really do.
But I mean, it goes back. Like, and I said this to Todd. I said, what's really impressive to me right now when I'm sitting there was this was Ua and Damiani's first time together on Starline, and you didn't skip a beat. Like they were creating well, and that brings up the question. And I know he talked about in his pod, but Do you start Damiani against Inter Miami with Ty?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, again, goes back to is a great situation to have because even I
Yeah.
said you could bring Ual on that 60, 70 minute,
Yep.
just have him run on tired legs against that back line, or, give Ty because remember, with this new,
Mm-hmm.
again, going back to this new way the Union are playing, you can tire people out. So keep
Yeah.
that front, those strikers fresh. And I think
Yeah.
that's so key.
Like, wouldn't you rather see, like, yeah, someone like Mikel Ua coming on against tired legs, actually having like a really high quality striker there to come on at later in the game rather than, no offense,
You
but Chris, over like someone like Chris Donovan.
Griffin was fine.
And he was fine. He did his
He
job.
did his job. He
And that's
held
all you
up.
can
He
ask
held the
for.
ball, and
Yep.
and that's what you do when you're up in a close game. You bring him on. Um, but no, Damiani was very impressive on the night. Now getting to see a full night, you see what he brings to this game. Um, and I thought he was impressive. I thought Indy
Yes.
was impressive.
Indy was impressive. He was
You can
just
see why
all over the place there, like really contributing.
it really is. And again, goes back to our point. You have a good problem right now
They do.
with this depth, so you can keep this team fresh all year. I'm curious to see what Cardinal does
Yeah.
on Saturday versus Inter Miami. Does he rotate a little bit just to keep some of these players that maybe have played all the games early on fresh?
Yeah.
Or not. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll
But
be interested to see also what he does with like right back. You know, and just
he's got a great problem there.
yeah, he's definitely got options. And by the way, speaking of the bench, it was a very heavily Union 2 bench. And want to note that Stas Korzanowski, he made an appearance on the bench. He's signed a Union 2.
Made short term, so
So
did
short
Perry.
term,
So
what?
did Periano.
Periano is
I
like on a
asked about
first,
that.
yeah, so he's on a first team deal, but he's loaned down to Union 2 for the season, like he was last year. So
So he gets 4. You get 4 of those
yeah.
compared to 6 off for us.
And then you had David Vasquez and CJ Olney on there as well. Of course, Cavan was already, there. I was fully expecting to see Cavan get subbed in. I was kind of surprised he wasn't, but yeah, that was Raffanello gets subbed in. He finally makes an appearance because it's been like, where's Rafa fit into all this?
Right.
So,
And so he got a
and he
look.
did fine.
Yeah, no
And
complaints.
Donovan got subbed, so like I said, he did his job, and so
Bizo was okay. I mean, he didn't do anything too egregious. He had a couple plays where you're like, ooh. But
he
he
made
didn't
some
get
real good plays, like real heads up. Like there was one where like right there at the end line, he made like a really good like heads
Yeah.
up play, and everyone's like, okay, let's go, Bizo, good job. It's honestly when I think Todd said this on his, but when you don't have to comment too much about Bizo, that's a good game.
it is a good game. So, finishing up, I did talk to Nate Harrell real quick about this was a game where you had a red card, you had I think it was 8 cards given out throughout the match. Wasn't as physical as I would say the um Nashville match, but I did think the physicality out there was pretty, it was getting chippy.
It was getting very chippy. And then, of course, we saw things come to a head a bit. Mikel Ua gets fouled.
Yeah.
And, Leuven, kicks the ball away when it's supposed to be a free kick there. And that was his second yellow. He was already on a yellow. And so he gets a second yellow. So he's red carded and he's off.
Yeah. And look, I think let's play the clip here real quick because this was very interesting for me. All right, let's go.
And not gonna lie, like everyone around me in 136 is like, we're screwed.
Yeah.
They're like, no. We know how we are on
But no,
man.
I mean, we all knew going into the game was going to be a super physical game, especially with Kessler. Back in New England, he was the same thing. He's just trying to get in your head. But Forrest, Bruno, Mika, they shouldn't be all of that tonight, making him annoyed, making him mad, and even drawing the red card at the beginning of the second half was also huge. So just about being strong and physical, but at the same time not letting your emotions get too much, so you can channel it and then use it against them.
And I agree with that. That was a big thing. Kessler was chirping the whole first half early on.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, and I even made a comment to somebody that, I feel like the Union kind of learned from getting out physical in that first game. They kind of kept their calm, um, were tactical with how they did it, and because there were times where they were trying to get physical and the ball would pop loose, and here comes St. Louis on the counter
Mm-hmm.
because that's how St. Louis lives. And you can see why they are so dangerous at times. But Union did a good job. The back line did a good job of not being too out physical, but also staying at times composed when the heat got going. Obviously, we saw some tempers flare at times,
Mm-hmm.
to be expected when the way these clubs play. But
Yep.
yeah, like Nate said, just keeping the composure. But I thought for this match, again, I kind of said this, if Union played like that against Nashville,
Oh,
it could have been a different story. I'm not saying the Union win, but it'd be a lot closer game.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I think they did a good job to rebound from that disappointment.
exactly. They learned. And so now let's talk about the next five matches. Oh, before we go, any final thoughts on the match?
Like I said, it was great to see the depth and see the guys really step up. And I think this was a really good test because, on one hand, hey, they got the loss out of the way.
Hmm.
So they didn't have that hangover. Everyone was like, oh, they're so undefeated. But it was really a good team win. Everyone really stepped up there, and that was really positive, and heading into a big test at Miami, um, or let's be real, Fort Lauderdale. Um, but I think that's really some good momentum.
No, I agree. That was a perfect bounce back game. I couldn't say it any better
And
myself.
they're sitting atop the East and the Supporter Shield standings.
Oh yeah.
Because and Vancouver lost. They finally lost. So, um, yeah.
So here's my prediction, season prediction. So next three games, I'm just gonna share this real quick. They're at Miami, then home to Orlando on April 5th, at NYCFC on April 12th, home to Atlanta, and then you wrap that up with DC. Um, I mean, you got the for next four games are going to be really difficult. I mean,
Hmm.
two on the road against quality opponents.
Hmm.
Atlanta is scoring right now. They got quality. Orlando leads league in goals right now, but one over the Union at
They're
13.
playing Orlando like so close together. Like they were
Yeah,
at Orlando and they're playing them again already. Like, so that's gonna
they're
be
doing
interesting.
they're doing that with Miami too. They're
Yeah.
playing at the end of March and then end of May. So a couple of these teams they're bouncing right
Hmm.
back and forth. So I mean, I think what this win does is it gives them momentum in these next five, um, especially with the U.S. Open Cup looming. So I, I'm curious. I'd love to see them get. I think I have 7 points here. Here's the funny thing: I had like 12 points already.
Hmm.
They're at 12 points.
Yeah.
So I had 12 points in 10 games. They're at 12 points in five.
Who'd
So
have thought? It's great to
yeah,
see.
it's been good.
You'd love to
So
see it.
you do. I'd love to see them get maybe points in one or two of
Hmm.
these games, get 3 points, and you know, get DC. I mean, hopefully get some points against DC, and then see where all the other chips make.
Hmm.
There is a very good opportunity here. You can continue to position themselves not only with confidence, but with the league, um, to be very successful, in
Hmm.
these next 10 games. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It is. I also wanted to note a little bit about the players that are away on international duty.
Yeah.
Just real quick. So there's been some real good things. I know Frankie, he started the U20s match against Mexico and played the majority of that, and he did really well. And let's see, Neil started his game that he was in. Kellen played today.
Mhm.
He started both matches they've had down in Costa Rica, and Kellen had an assist today.
Yeah.
They won 4-2 over Costa Rica, and it was tough coming by some of this information because they weren't like updating things on Twitter so much. Not everything was available to watch, but the U20 game was available to watch, and I believe Frankie didn't get in today at all. Um, I was trying to keep track of that. Um, but I know like they tied Japan
Yeah.
1-1 and So Frankie didn't start that. I don't think he got in. I was trying to like I watched some of it over my lunch, but then like I had to go, teach. So anyway, but yeah, Marlon LeBlanc is doing the U18s there with
Yeah.
Neil, and so that's going well. And um anyway, Danny didn't really get much time with Hungary, and Hungary did not do well. And let's see, Ty got a little bit of time with Israel. They still have some matches to go. I know but Andre plays tomorrow.
Danley, I think, plays tomorrow.
Danley scored a goal, by the way, on
Yes.
Saturday
Yeah.
for Haiti. So that was great to see. So
Yeah,
but
no.
yeah, so they've been all been busy, and anyway, but they should all be back for the Miami game.
They should be. Hopefully everybody's healthy. No surprises.
Yeah, with like Andre and stuff, it's just like, just please don't get hurt.
Yeah, but no, seriously, it's like especially with these next four games, you want everybody healthy. Love to see what kind of rotation Cardinal does and what he's
Yeah.
seen coming off of this. So yeah, Inter
Yes.
Miami's up. Messi is at
He's questionable.
with an abductor, I believe it is.
Yeah, something like that. He was I just saw
Abdominal
something
abduct.
tweeted today, like he was like they had open training or whatever, and he was definitely looking questionable.
Yeah,
Like
so
they didn't think he was going to be available for Saturday, but who knows?
who knows?
We all know that they can manage without him too.
They can. And so here, but last year Union had a decent showing. That was a game where they lost, what was it, 3-1, but they were in that to the very
They
end.
really were in that, yeah.
And you'd have to imagine that Jan would want to play, like you said, against
Mm-hmm.
you know, a Newell old boy
Yeah.
against former, Messi childhood club. So that'd be good. I'm curious to see how this game develops because you get a point
Mm-hmm.
or more. I mean, you gotta walk out of there feeling pretty
I'd be
confident.
very happy with a point.
Just walking out of there feeling good, looking good.
But this will be interesting because, Miami is one of the top ranked, not because they had a bye and they have one less game played. They are, I think, in like third or fourth, but they're
Yeah,
like, but we all know, like, yeah, they're right up there. So no, it'll be a good test to see what they can do. I mean, the Union have played against a couple good teams for sure. But yeah, this is a big test, especially it's on the road.
yeah. I'm very curious to see how this game plays out. So,
Yes.
it'll be an interesting game. So,
And we are traveling down there.
yeah, so we'll be down at the match. So, see
Yes.
us around, say hi.
Yeah.
I'll have a travel article coming out maybe tomorrow, probably later in the week. So keep an eye out for that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, looking forward to getting down there. I have family that lives in Fort Lauderdale, actually, like right near the stadium too. So we're gonna visit with some of my family down there, and
yeah,
so but yeah, that'll be good.
yeah. I know Todd Lewis is going down, so we'll
Yep.
see him at some point. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun time. If you're heading down, let us know. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, we got travel article, match preview article to here to wrap up. Um, have a player interview coming up later this
Yes.
week. We'll keep that on low. And then Union 2 plays Huntsville on Friday. We'll be writing about that as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can get like on the plane, I can get like maybe some internet and watch it because
Yeah,
we're gonna be in the air when that game's going on.
yeah. So that will be good. We'll see how Richter and crew look.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, so we've got a lot of content coming your way. And yeah, that's been all for this week of the one team we agree on.
Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and leave us comments because we love hearing from you. We do really appreciate all the engagement and just, getting our content out there, spreading the word. So we love all the interactions. So please keep doing that and spread the word. And if you enjoy our content, yeah, just keep interacting with us.
Yeah. And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
We'll see you at the game.